We're going to be taking a look at a fairly quick proof, but one that has a finicky little trick that's inside of it. And this is for the universal elimination. It's the first type of deductive step for predicate logic. But while it might be simple on paper just to do the few steps that are required for this, it could be a little bit, like I said, finicky inside of JAPE. And so what we need to do here to remove the universal, I mean, this should be a fairly straightforward, for every x, p of x implies q of x, and we know p of I, then we should be able to deduce q of I. And so on paper, you would say, okay, well, for every x, well, let's assume for a particular x and use an actual I variable substitution like you learned on the light board in the lecture. But to do that in JAPE, you can't just create the assumption boxes, or you can't just create the assumptions in a straightforward manner, right? So I'm going to show how this actually goes down. Now, you can select either of these premises, and in the forward menu, you do a copy select. Now, what this is going to do is it's going to create this sort of arbitrary variable type of thing that could be instantiated at some point in how you're going to complete the proof. You might have seen this in previous demonstrations with the law of excluded middle. To sort of later on unify what's going on with this arbitrary variable and lock it into something meaningful. And so when you take a look at the forward step of universal elimination, it says it requires a variable. If we were to just select it, it would say, look, you need a variable in order for this to unify with, and we're going to require that you select that before it goes forward. And so in order to do that here and introduce this new variable, we've done a copy select. We select both of these. And now when we do a forward step, we get this first option here, and it's going to substitute this variable for the actual, this underscore b variable for the variable that we create. So once we hit OK, you'll see now that underscore b has turned into an actual underscore I2. And this actual underscore I2 is what we're sort of using as this universal elimination. Now we have PI2 implies Q underscore I2. And so we can actually take this here, and I2 is again unbound, and we can sort of use a substitution in order to get what we want. And so we're going to do a forward implication elimination, which is going to tie together the variable I and the variable underscore I2. And when we do that, it now locks it in with an actual I, and we have a PI implies QI, and the proof is complete. Now, if you're to look at this final proof, it's fairly simple, and you might get this fairly quickly on paper. But again, in JAPE, you need to be careful about how you go about introducing these particular things, because it's important to be able to introduce these arbitrary assumptions or these arbitrary actual steps inside of your proof. And a good way to do that is in a forward pass. You pick a premise and you say a copy select. And then later on, you can do the universal elimination or any other step that might try to unify those variables for you. So that's it for now, and we'll see you next time.